What if living by these 3 rules would put you in the top 1% of men or masculine energy, however you want to look at it? Now, in general, when it comes to this, it changes absolutely everything when you become aware of some of the energies that were activated, that were keeping you in certain states, keeping you in a certain energy. When you become aware of those energies, you can then make a new choice about who you are and completely switch the energy and change it from the inside out. Now, one of the things that happens very often when it comes to attracting someone in general, and especially attracting feminine energy, is understanding that if there is any level whatsoever of neediness, the energy of neediness, that will block love from coming into your life. That will block attraction from coming into your life. So the first rule to understand about putting yourself in the top 1% of men or masculine energy is simply letting go of needy energy. Think of needy energy as a repellent. If you have any level of needy energy on you, it is literally repelling love. It is running away from you. Now, needy energy, let's define what needy is. Needy energy is when somebody is putting someone else on a pedestal. Someone else is being put on a pedestal, and their thoughts, their validation, their approval is more important than yours. So what ends up happening is someone is put on a pedestal energetically. They then respond to that energy dynamic and treat the person the way that they're being treated. They're embodying those characteristics. So for example, if you treat someone like a celebrity, they will treat you like a fan. If what neediness is putting someone else on a pedestal. So maybe there's someone that you're attracted to, someone that you really like, you hope everything works out with. And what you end up doing is making it really important that things happen well, and that creates resistant energy. And what's really happening is deep down, there's a neediness, a need of that person's validation or approval in order to feel safe, in order to feel good. And the reason that repels is because it's literally it's manipulative energy. It is looking for something on the outside to fulfill the inside. And I'm sure you've had it before. I used to work in a sales commission job, and it's like the more needy energy you have, the more it literally repels customers. And you've probably walked into a store before. Have you ever walked into a store where somebody's like, "Can I help you with something?" Especially if it's a commission sales job, you could smell that they want the commission. Walk into a used car dealership and watch how people just either start coming up to you, they want your attention, they want to sell you a car. The more needy they are, the more you will feel that, and it will just repel you. And the same way, and the reason being is because they want something that is manipulative. They want you to buy a car because then that will help their paycheck. Sometimes, though, you'll get a car salesperson that wants to add value, that really wants to give you great customer service. That's a different energy too. Now imagine that you go on a date with somebody and you want them to like you. You want them to appreciate you. You want them to validate you. You want them to have sex with you. But want, that is needy energy, and it is manipulative. So instead of wanting that from them, it comes from a different energy. The energy it comes from is more collaborative. It's more fun. It's more in the moment. It's more present. It also comes with the recognition that what you have is not what I need. It's becoming aware that a lot of times what we're searching for in someone else is for them to meet the unmet childhood needs that weren't met. So we have unmet childhood needs, a lot of times validation and approval, and feeling like we're not good enough. So then what happens is we attract somebody that we can try to prove it to. And then we want their validation, their approval, and we want them to close the loop from childhood. The challenge is putting out that needy energy literally blocks it. So the key to this a lot of times is becoming aware of the unmet childhood needs, observing it, and then observing it in yourself when you're around somebody else. Because a lot of times what you'll do is you'll find to make someone else happy, to make someone else approving, you will abandon yourself in the process. Really what this is an abandonment wound. Neediness a lot of times is birth of an abandonment wound. The abandonment wound of not feeling chosen, not feeling good enough, having an emotionally unavailable or physically and emotionally emotional parent. And what that means is then trying to change your own center of gravity to make someone else happy in order to not be abandoned. Now the funny thing is we've already abandoned ourselves to get somebody else to meet our needs. But the key and the power to this is to become aware of your own values and begin to actually live by them. Now this leads us into the second rule for becoming the top 1% of masculine or of all men. That has to do with allowing the feminine to feel safe by being in your own frame. Now, being in your own frame is kind of similar to the first one, the neediness, because really what this is it's not searching on the outside for something you can only give on the inside, but it's becoming aware that your identity, how you are showing up in the world, is based on your set of values. Now, what happens is when there's neediness or when we don't have a strong frame, our values are what your values are. Whatever your values are, mine are too, because I need your validation and approval. We tune, it's the people pleaser mentality, tuning to other people's energy in order to please so you can get in exchange the validation or the approval. Now, the power is in becoming aware of the energy and choosing your own set of values. Your own values that you are living by are dictating what you're getting in your life. Now, when I was able to have more magnetic energy and to be more in my own masculine energy, it came from having values that were more in alignment with the more masculine embodied version of myself. Now, the thing is, there's a book, it's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And basically the whole book is about realizing that we give too much of a shit about what other people think of us. We give too much of a shit about a lot of stuff that really doesn't matter. And the key is to actually give a shit about things that you really value and that are actually healthy. So you're going to give a shit about something. It's just that if you give a shit about the wrong things, you then embody that energy and it can actually work against you. Now, when it comes to not having and being in your own masculine energy, or it also comes from that energy just in general that kind of gets messed up. What ends up happening though is you're living by values that you chose during childhood to live by, but they're outdated. So for example, when I made the biggest shift in my own energy, I was valuing, I was caring about what other people thought of me, other people's validation, other people's approval, feeling significant in the world. These are all things that were important. Wasn't really aware of it. Some of it I was, but I was like, wow, I really crave all of this because it was my unmet childhood needs as a kid. And I was living by this. So imagine living as a people pleaser, wanting not other people to reject me because their approval meant so much to me. I had to work so hard on YouTube just to build 1 million followers on YouTube so I could finally be worthy and enough and prove people wrong that didn't believe in me. These were all built on that premise of the belief, I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. In order to cover up the shame, it's like I'll get people's approval, I'll be significant, I'll look this way, I'll have people's validation. But the challenge is, then I'm living by these things that are abandoning the real me. And it's living according to that false belief that I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. Eventually what I began to do is I began to live by higher values. Those higher values were authenticity, vulnerability, the ability to be present, being adventurous, having fun. As I started living according to those values, it changed the whole way I was embodying who I am. And to become aware of your values, your values are kind of like your virtues you live by. The virtues you live by are normally on autopilot from childhood, but by becoming aware of them, you can then realize, wait, you can catch yourself. The next time you start, trying to please someone else, you're like, wait, why am I doing this? Why am I trying to please you? What am I trying to get from you? And then you can start realizing, I can please myself. I need to, first off, stop abandoning myself. I need to set boundaries with someone else because I need to honor myself. And it completely changes your energy. And I'll tell you, when you have the stronger set of boundaries you have, the more attractive you are in general. The more I started growing on YouTube and the more I started having my own life, like a gravity to my own life, the more I had to say no to other things because I just have too many things going on. And living according to your own values is the key to having magnetic energy, and it allows, I remember even back in the day, one of my, an ex-girlfriend of mine was vegan, and I was vegan for a while, and I remember that when I'd go out, I'd like completely abandon going out, like whatever I wanted didn't matter, even though I was eating meat and like eating fish and stuff, but I would go wherever they wanted to go because they wanted their vegan food. So I'd find a place that had the best vegan food, and I would do that for months on end, and I could tell that it wasn't, I could tell that it was almost like I was abandoning myself to make and please somebody else, and I could tell that it wasn't attractive to this person. The funny thing was that then, I remember when I met my girlfriend now, she was vegan when I met her, and when I met her, it was funny because it was like she was, I bought her all of this food from Whole Foods, all this vegan food, all this like artificial BS food that she wouldn't even eat. And I didn't know it at the time because I was just meeting her. But I was almost considering, the old me was considering pretending to be vegan for a day or two just to see and gauge her to where she was at. But instead what ended up happening is when she came, she came to my house. I ended up just saying, you know what? I'm just going to be the real me. I'm going to express the real me. And what I ended up doing, and that meant like eating what I wanted to eat. And what I wanted to eat was bison. So what ended up happening is she came over, I ate bison, and I could tell that it was a new reality for me because I felt more free. I also felt like the real me. I wasn't hiding anything. And I could tell that it was more attractive because I wasn't tuning to someone else to get their approval. I was like just saying, this is me. This is what I want to eat. So this is the key to realizing that the respect you want is on the other side of having the courage to be the real you. Even as I say that right now, I know that there's some people that are watching this video that for some reason people always assume I'm vegan because I make spiritual content, so obviously that's what a lot of people think. However, expressing that, it's like, ooh, there's going to be some people that don't like me as much now because I said that I don't eat just plants. And that's like, I'm aware that that's how some people feel. However, even if you feel that way, you probably respect that I have the courage to express that. Even if your mind doesn't like it because it has a rule that says that, spiritual people should be eating meat. So it's interesting because you can become aware, that the process is becoming aware of those energies. Becoming aware of it. It's 90% of all transformation. And that leads to the third rules of masculine energy that will put you in the top 1%, and that is living by the power of vulnerability. The value of vulnerability, if you live by that, it is way more attractive than living by the values that we were talking about before of wanting people's approval, validation, etc. But what ends up happening is vulnerability is the cure and the antidote to shame. Now, shame is a belief that says I'm broken. If you had an emotionally unavailable parent growing up, if they physically left maybe, or something happened and they broke trust and you internalized, maybe they're divorced or something, said I'm broken, there's something wrong with me. Now what ends up happening is in order to hide that shame, we try to please, we try to put on this persona, we try to get significance. And the key and the cure to shame is vulnerability. Vulnerability. Vulner means wound and ability is ability. So the ability to go into the wound, the ability to show your wound. Now the interesting thing is when you are vulnerable, not only is it more attractive, but it is also more connective. It's a big thing that lacks nowadays in common culture because there's Instagram significance and all this BS. Emotionally expressing the real you will be a relief to whoever you're dating. I promise you that. There's 3 types of vulnerability. There's emotional vulnerability, the ability to express your true emotions, which as a people pleaser nice guy, I had to shed that identity. That meant like sharing and showing sexual attraction that I had. That meant sharing and showing my feelings, my emotions, not knowing I was going to be, believing and knowing that I could express it and not be rejected, not be like abandoned. And having the courage to do that changed everything because the people in your life are reflecting back the vulnerability that you're embodying. If there's a lack of vulnerability, then you'll attract people that also aren't expressing that vulnerability. So emotional vulnerability. The next one is social vulnerability. The ability to maybe walk over and have the courage to walk over to introduce yourself to someone you're attracted to. The ability to show maybe PDA, or to be like emotionally expressive in public with maybe your significant other or the person you're dating. It takes courage to do that, but it's also attractive because you're embodying vulnerability. The third one is physical vulnerability. Being able to touch somebody else in a non-creepy way, of course. The creepiness, by the way, is if you need something from them, that's creepy. If you're emotionally and physically connecting with somebody else and you're in the moment, then it's not creepy if your intentions aren't manipulative or, trying to get that pleasing energy. So that physical vulnerability expresses also how you're feeling. So for me, that meant when I was dating, I would hold myself back from showing physical and emotional vulnerability because I didn't want to get rejected. But then I'd be dating women that were like, does he like me or not? They wouldn't know. And then it would drag on too long, and then it would end up being like really weird. So what I learned though is right from the beginning when I met my girlfriend, I was expressive. I was showing her that I was sexually attracted to her and like emotionally attracted, and that changed the whole energy. That set the frame and established the polarity. So the things that put you in the top 1% have to do with your values, living by your own values, getting rid of the old values, living by vulnerability and completely eradicating needy energy in your body by embodying your own magnetic frame, by being present in your own frame of reality. And as you do that, it changes absolutely everything. Now, one of the most powerful meditations I have is an inner child meditation. So if you want to meet the needs of your own inner child, it's one of the most powerful meditations I have. All you got to do is click the link below or go to aarondowdy.com/child, aarondowdy.com/child. Check that meditation out. It's one of my most powerful ones. We energetically go to Hawaii, to completely reparent our own inner child, and we activate that energy so that we can then attract the love we want, be safe in our own frame, and have magnetic energy. Now, also, there's a video right here that's one of my most powerful videos, and it has to do with why when you walk away, all the energy comes back to you. That's the key to attracting a specific person, but really it's the key to letting go so that you can be free in your own energy. Watch this video right here. This video, I'm gonna show you the weird reason walking away actually has so much magnetic energy that it can propel back things to you that you priorly lost. Now, energetically, there's something that is happening when somebody walks away. What they are doing